Yeah, I wanted to touch on a couple of things you guys talked about before. I know a lot of times when there's these active shooters, we use the term mental health, but when it's Pookie and Tyrone shooting each other in the hood, we don't get that mental health either. What about all the help that we need in the trauma happening in the hood? Why don't we ever get the grace and the benefit? Same thing with the war on drugs. When black people's communities and families was being ravaged, we were criminals. Now, when it's white communities, now it's a sickness and they need help. So, if we're gonna use the term mental health, we need to be consistent among all communities and not just giving that benefit to certain groups of people. Because some people, they're not mental health, they're evil, they're criminals, they know what they're doing. And then to protect the 2A, we jump on the mental health bandwagon instead of calling a spade a spade. Yes, there are some people in the 2A community that are racist, that aren't good for us, and we need to call them out and weed them out so that way, we could actually advance our real issues instead of hiding behind stuff. But we're scared to like say certain things when it's like, nah, that guy's whack, he's horrible, he's a criminal. Let's throw him out, and then we could continue with the rest of the good people. So yeah, that was the part about the mental health part. And that ties with everything right now. I think the things that are happening are intentional. People know what they're doing. It's not an accident that people didn't show up to their jobs. It's not an accident that people got access to the White House. It's not an accident that everybody was organized and stuff. That's just how they move. But we as black people, and if it was us in the White House, we know what would have happened. We wouldn't be there anyways, but we know how to move. So you just got to take note of the stuff that's going out there and just understand how to move and not get caught up in all the craziness, you know?
And thank you, Pierre, for that understanding of mental health issue, making it more clear. There's both sides, and I understand it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. No, I just want to keep it real, because a lot of times we try to be politically correct, and it's like we're never going to make progress unless we keep it real. There's a lot of things wrong with the 2A. There's a lot of things we need to improve on, and if we're not direct and organized and being clear with our intent, it's just going to continue to be diminished. And it's always the black communities that's going to get hit first and going to get hit the worst. So we got to keep it real. And among ourselves, we don't have a gun problem. We have a lack of education and training. So a lot of like pastors and people that are anti-gun, they're anti-gun because they're not educated. When you get educated and how to use a firearm safely, then you don't have those fears. So we fear what we don't know. And it's been intentional that black and brown communities are left in the dark, so that way they fear it. And you got pastors running around saying guns are bad, da 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 da. And then that way we never have a safe and responsible relationship with firearms. Where in the white communities, kids are going to Boy Scouts, they're going in the woods, they're learning how to shoot early, they're learning how to hunt, how to tie knots and stuff. Where's that equivalent for the black community? What about all the black and brown boys that are interested in firearms? Where do they go to learn how to use firearms safely and responsibly? So we have a lack of access, a lack of education and training, and that's what leads to the gun issue in our communities. And that's why being an instructor is very important, because you're equipping people with knowledge and skills. And once you have that, people can never take that from you. You can get a license to carry, and then you can go make some bread off of that. You could become an armed security officer, you can become a police officer. You could work. There's so many security jobs right now that are paying mad money right now. So it's like if you educate people, if you equip them with the tools and the knowledge and the equipment they need, then they can go out there and be great. So it's not by accident that Boston is a red town and all these stuff. All the cities where black and brown people are at, there's limited access to the 2A. And we have to fight that. And the best way to fight that is through education. And when people sit in the class and they see how there is a safe way to own firearms and to use it, that changes their mind, So we've got to have that psychological revolution in the black community to get us to move forward and not accept the status quo.
I mean, and also part of that, and to piggyback off that, you got to get into your local politics. You got to know you got to know your local politics, your state reps. You got to know your mayors, not just the president. You need to know who's your state reps of your county. You need to know your selectmen board. You need to know all these things, because those are the ones who write your laws. It ain't the president. You know, it's the Congress, they write it, but then it's the state reps in your state, selectman board, sheriff's office, you name it. Those are the ones who write your laws. So as you get, most black people, unfortunately, we deal with the big one, the big elections, not the small ones. Like this past election, I think last year in Boston, it was only about like 20% of the votes they got just to win. It was the same people.
Hmm.
You didn't see many black people there because we don't look at the local politics, and we have to also like, re-educate ourselves with that. You know, get your local politics who write these laws. Like that's why everything in Boston is so hard, especially in the state of Massachusetts, because of the local politics. And we got to be more assertive and more outgoing when they come in these Senate committee hearings. We got to be a part of that, because if we don't, just be in the shadows, it's going to be the same old white man okie dokie stuff, and it's never going to change. We're always going to get the brunt of it, like Solomon says. The black and brown, we get hit first before anybody. I mean, I lived in Boston until I was like 4, because my parents, the street I lived on was either on Barnes Street, either people were getting shot up or a car accident every other day.
Mhm.
So I got no choice. But by me living in the suburbs of Framingham, I had the advantage of taking around my white surroundings to get the LTC. So when I came back into Boston, and then even the cops were perplexed, wait, you can carry? I was like, yeah, because I live in Framingham. So they just throws them off. And then they basically, you just learn to stay low. Don't do nothing to make yourself loud, loud out there, and just do what you gotta do, respectfully and lawfully. You'll be fine. So
You made a good point too, because in one of my podcasts I talk about that, as you just said, everybody's focused on the presidential, okay, but that president can't move in the state unless he had ties in the state, okay. If the governor's tied, like for instance Joe Biden, he has a governor in Massachusetts, they're good friends, and from the governor all the way down, you got almost they're friends, so he can move something in Massachusetts. That's why we're fighting these gun laws in Massachusetts, because Biden and all his connections are here in Massachusetts. Now, Trump, if you remember, he put, I think, 180 judges out before he left. Okay. He's put them out in all the states. And guess what? Those states have better gun laws. Now, am I saying Trump's a better man? I'm not. But what I'm saying, they got a plan. Okay. Now, if we understand the plan and start holding these politicians accountable and to us, okay, then we can get moving. And I will never ever forget the anti-Asian hate crime bill. It took 3.5 weeks to pass that bill. Okay. Now I just want to be clear, but this is a video. Nobody has a right to beat, mangle, kill anybody on this God-given earth. Okay. But if you look at the numbers, we got almost 540 years of being oppressed, whipped, and killed. Okay. And so I think it was 2020, all this was really picking up on what the agents, and they got a bill passed in 3.5 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. Okay. By the Republican and Democrat, there was a joint, and they believed it. So as you said again, we got to get the politicians in line with us. We don't line with them, they line up with us. Okay, that's what it comes down to. And that's the problem with a lot of our people. They don't understand those logistics. They look at Joe Biden as he's the man. Some people look at Trump as he's the man. I would like to talk to my black people who are following Trump. What is he saying he's going to give your people? If you're going to vote for him, if you're going to put all that fire and smoke on him, what's he giving to your people? Or you just decided to switch land to go somewhere else? Okay. So we got to be more intelligent with our vote also. And that's what I'm saying about that,
Yeah, so I agree with everything that you guys are saying. We have to be organized and present. I go to a lot of goal meetings and events and stuff, and I'm almost always the only black guy there. Or it's my students who are also at the event. They held a rally last year, right, in Boston Common. Barely any black people there, and I knew all of them, and they were my students. So why are we having pro two-way events in our own community and black and brown people not showing up to Boston Common? So like we got to be organize, we got to be present, and we got to hold these local politicians active. Because I see flyers all around Boston, around every little local community. Hey, vote for me. I'm this and that. Da 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 da. Well, you got to hold that person accountable if you value the two-way. You got to go to these community meetings. You got to go to these pro two-way events. And I know some of them are not politically aligned with us. Then we need to shift that or create our own organization. So it's probably easier if we get them to adjust a little bit to our demands and our desires. But ultimately, we do have to create our own and have our own two-way leaders. And when I look around and I'm like, who are the two-way leaders in Boston and in Massachusetts, right? Who's our top three pro two-way guys, right? So if we don't have a clear leader, we don't have a clear direction, how are we going to make things better? Not only for the two-way, but for the two-way for the Black and brown community. And we have to be, and that starts with being present, caring enough to show up to meetings, caring enough to go listen to a hearing, caring enough to read the stuff. I recommend everybody be a Gold member, right? Read the stuff that's happening. Why is it when these white guys driving 2 hours away from Boston to come to protest at the city hall and the stuff, and there's no Black and brown people? That means
Here's the thing, because I've talking to John and Mike Harris, Carrie Ann, all that stuff, the goals and stuff. 'Cause I'm a Gold member myself,
Yeah.
and I was like, and I was actually on Carrie Ann's and their show in Taunton a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, listen, you all need to really. They don't know, or like I said, a lot of us, we don't have a leader, and it's not. I'm not trying to make it say it's excuses, but it's like, if you want the same things that people that are coming from Western Mass coming here and protesting, like Pierre said,
They'd be deep. Yeah.
They'd be in trouble if there was a bunch of Black people in the State House with them. They'd be like, oh crap. So when I went, it was what was that thing? Senator Xerius was like, you're the first person that ever did this, that we've never seen this before, like ever in Massachusetts, because they don't know how to they didn't know how to how can I say, they wasn't expecting it. And I gave them an opportunity to come to my class, no show. So basically it's like, okay, it's just a bunch of lies, you're just here for the votes and see you later. So I mean, I dealt with that kind of I would say, I can't even think of the word, disappointment.
Yeah.
So it's a disappointment when you go out there as a Black person and say, hey, this is for my people. Like, yo, you're doing the same thing. Like, it's not working, and I live in the area where the problem happens. You don't live here. Like, I know the work. So
add Antonio. He said he's in the background.
Good.
So I think it's important over the next. I know that we're waiting on the new bill. Supposedly it's dropping this July.
But that's the thing. We shouldn't be waiting on anything. The same way when a Black man gets killed by a white cop, we show up and we show out. It needs to be the same way. Where are all the pro-Black, pro-gun Black people? Why are we waiting on a bill? There ain't shit coming in that bill that's gonna be good. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for them to ban. Where are all the Black and brown people that are pro-gun? Where all y'all at these events that Goal are holding? Or where is your event that you're holding? If you don't feel comfortable or you don't want to line, where are we? Where are we at?
I can't really speak. I can only speak for what me and Tony have done. But
Because
like I said, I feel your pain. I was disappointed too. I'm like, you gonna tell me I'm the only Black person here at this Senate committee, and you ain't none of y'all come about this, and you complaining about stuff?
If it doesn't involve brunch or turning up
or getting lit, unfortunately. Hold on.
We're distracted from the real issue, and the people want to come together and party and bullshit and party and bullshit. But for the things that count, there's no accountability, unfortunately.
yeah. So we have to start creating solutions. So as instructors, I hope that we are the one, creating these new gun owners. I hope we're staying in contact with our students. This is something I've been doing the last couple of years, but really organizing my students' data and then inviting them to these Pro 2A events. Unfortunately, I'm out in Swansea, so like I don't really train as much Black and brown people as I would like. But for you guys creating these new gun owners, like you need to be organized. You need to say, hey, who wants to be updated on 2A news? We'll send you these things, and we've got to do the legwork because we are the leaders in the 2A. Every time you teach a class and you certify a dozen, 50, 100 people, what are you just certifying them and letting them go? Or are you following up on them and making sure they get their license? Are you giving them their information to go to these T2A events? What are we doing, right? So if we start with ourselves in our own classrooms, if we're doing what we're supposed to do, then now we can tell another instructor, hey man, this is what I'm doing. Here's the email setup that I have for my students to let them know that goal is coming up and stuff like that. And, we're all on social media, so we've got to use our social media to really, push the boundaries. If you go with a friend and y'all go shooting every weekend or once a month or whatever, and he wasn't at that rally, you need to hold him accountable. Like, yo, bro, how you out here shooting with me all the time, but you wasn't up in the Senate House, you wasn't doing this, you wasn't doing that. So we got to hold the people in our lives accountable. And then I think if we start doing that as instructors, that's going to spread. We have the biggest reach because we know, like when the NRA does things, a lot of Black and brown people aren't checking for that. So we've got to spread that same information because it hits us just the same. At least white people are fighting for their rights. We just out here, we either don't know or don't care. So we got to show up for our own well-being. And, we got to start somewhere because right now this shit is dead in the water for Black and brown people. Politically in the 2A, it's dead. In mass, at least. I don't know about anywhere else, but in mass, it's in Boston, it's completely dead. So why don't we want to be?
I 100% agree about it starts with us. And so with us planting the seed of new gun owners, it's hard. And I don't want to just keep using sayings, but you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. And so every new student or past student, I tell them, apply for your license immediately because they are trying to change the laws to make it harder for you to acquire it. You have to vote. You have to show up to these events. And people don't prioritize 2A in the Black community enough, unfortunately. And we as instructors, we have to sit down collectively. And this is a great start to us coming together and putting our heads together to figure it out. And so I'm happy that this conversation's happening. However, we need to include other Black instructors, Kenny Burns, Don Miners, and the other ones that I can't think of their names, but I
respect. From Hedge Protection, you got a bunch
Akeem from Hedge Protection.
Yeah.
Oh, and so we have to sit down collectively and strategize it.
How many Black and brown instructors are you that you know of?
The ones he just named, I probably know about. This is it, really.
In Massachusetts, about 10. Across the U.S., we're limited in terms of what we do in the field that we're doing it in. Yeah.
So why couldn't we do something like this? Once a month, once every month, every other month, if we do something like this, we get on code. That's the phrase, get on code. What's going on? Okay. And as you said, Solomon, hold each other accountable because you're saying stuff I don't know nothing about. That's telling me I'm out of key right there. Okay. I'm listening to a 2A. What the hell is a 2A? Okay. Is that a new gun? I don't know. See, this is telling me where I'm at.
A lot of us probably don't, like I said, a lot of us probably don't know. I'm not saying for us, but a lot of Black and brown people don't know where to go, or they don't have anybody. I mean, yes, like Tony said, we tell our students, hey, go fill out your application, even if it does take a year, whatever, in Boston. If you're in the suburbs, I tell them, you probably get it within, depending where you're in Milton, 2 weeks, Framingham, when I got it, took me 4 months.
Yeah.
So you have that. As I tell a lot of black people, you live in the suburbs. Take advantage of your white surroundings.
Yeah.
You will be better, maybe way more prepared, unfortunately, than the average person in the city. But you won't be left behind.
Yeah.
And when it's time to get ready, you have the means to do it automatically without saying, "Darn, oh, can I go get that license?" It's too late now. You got to wait a year, or they shut it down. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds harsh, but it's the reality. And you know, I mean, it's sad as I get more white people that, you know, when I do stuff, you know, edge me, hey, yeah, you're doing helping us out, but I'm looking for our people, and it's kind of very disappointing and upsetting. It's like, really, you worried about this, and then what happens when it happens? Now they want to come to us.
In addition, though, to 2A and responsible firearms ownership, people need to take their physical health more seriously. And so working out, eating better, these are important things. Pierre, I think it was his nephew, he was wrestling them the other day to let him know, like, I'm an old man, but I got old man strength.
Right.
That's because in addition to practicing with guns, it works out. And so these are important skills to have, because if you can't fight somebody hand to hand class 3 minutes and you're out of breath, you're lost in the water too, because you pull out your gun and they disarm you, and you gotta use your hands. And so the gun is not your only tool. It should be your first tool. And so pepper spray,
Knife.
de-escalation, avoidance, and so there's many things, there's many layers to us as Black people being able to protect ourselves and our families than just the gun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot is situational awareness. When I was a constable in Boston, it's like, again, what I like about Boston, you can be concealed. You don't have to be have it out. And a lot of time I had to do serving papers, or I had to do a KP or somebody. Um, the gun is not always the best thing. If somebody see where they got to get arrested, but it's how you flow. Okay, the badge, the paperwork, it has to happen. We don't want to do anything bad in front of your family. We just want you to work with us because it's going to have to happen. You know, and how we talk, 80% of the time it went down good. Okay, there was 10% you had to get rough with it situation. It is what it is. You know, and I do agree with you because I'm chunky as a monkey boy. I after 5 minutes, I say, "Oh, go man, go down the street. I can't fight you no more." You know, you know. So you're all right about that, and it makes me more lean to my firearm, because if I'm getting dizzy and I know I got my firearm on me and I'm getting dizzy, you getting the best of me. Well, now I have to make a decision. You see what I'm saying? And those are tricky things, because if you pull your firearm out, okay, and because you're getting winded and this person's beating on you and you have to let go on it. Now the question was that really a real threat to you? Okay. Then we go by the judge by 12, whether I would carry by. No, it's
Rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
yeah. Good point. But you rather just be you and that person. Ain't nobody gonna tell the story, but you or him. He gone. You know. So what I heard here today, it started off just wanting to educate our people about firearm, but we went to a different level. We went to accountability. We went to about proficiency, learning, practice our own stuff. Then we went to legality, and again to accountability. Okay. Then I'm hearing you gentlemen talk about how you feel, because you feel that when you go out to stand out for your Second Amendment rights, you're the only one out there. Okay. And it's not fair to you, because you should see your people there, but I'm gonna say me, don't see that as important. Okay. But you're there seeing the real paperwork, what can happen if they turn the odds on us, and so that has to change. Okay. And I just thank you for what you're doing. But you enlighten me to look at myself more on my Second Amendment right. What am I willing to do to keep it? Not just go out there and say, you ain't taking my gun. Fight the legal ramifications they're trying to pass on us to take our rights away. And that's what I'm looking at now. And thank you.
You all.
I wanted to add something too. I know, Nolan, you said you saw me on the video with John Green for the state meeting. As leaders, if you're self-identifying as a two-way leader in your community, you've got to put yourself in uncomfortable spaces to get the impact that you want. There's a lot of disrespect. There's a lot of personal L's. There's a lot of things that I've taken, in the dark in order to advance, what I need to do for my community. So I know a lot of Black and brown people saying, well, I'm not going to that. I don't like gold. There's a bunch of, MAGA supporters and da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but they're also in the loop about the gun law. If I wasn't following goal, I would have no idea on the updates of what's going on because I'm not tied in like that. I don't have people working in the government who's keeping them up to date and things like that. So if you're going to be a leader, you've got to open up yourself into spaces that you're going to be uncomfortable. And quite frankly, people are going to have opposite, opinions and lifestyles and beliefs in you. But you got to put in the work. So that way your kids don't ever have to go through that. The shit that I went through as an instructor, my kids will never have to endure that because I took in, all that pain and suffering. So we got to do that to shield and grow the two-way movement in the Black and brown community.
I know John was my instructor. So John's one hell of an instructor. He knows outlaw inside and out. I know Mike Harris, the lawyer who does the litigation there, Carrie Ann. So I've been in contact with them. I have taken that little, the L's and whatever, but for me, it doesn't matter. But the more I teach people, I feel better and they feel, hey, keep doing what you're doing. And of course, you get to pick that pushback from your family and your own community. And that is what it is. Like, yeah, it's true. It is. Whatever. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I am a conservative. If you think about it in the whole history, Black people, we were conservatives. But they want to tie the racism. Yes, but where is it not racist? It's racist in the Democratic Party just as much as the Republican Party.
Right.
So it's like, what are you saying? It's like, what are you saying? So, I mean, I get it. We got to go out there. I got to go out there. I have. I mean, still got to keep on going. But I'm not afraid of taking the L's and whatever. It's because I know at the end of the light, men like us, we're like going to be the pioneers. Or we should be pioneers because I want our people to be educated and the brown people. So it's just, it's difficult sometimes, but you just got to keep on pushing, and it will happen. I think it will change. It's just unfortunate. I think for us as Black people, we got to wait to the last minute to really get, you were lying. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and you just got to keep
Gerald, I want to do a shameless plug. I'm having a free, that's right, free, for my people who see this. Me and Nolan, we're having a free Stop the Bleed course. It is going to be conducted August 31st in Revere at Easy Pie, 649 Squire Road, right next to Harley Davidson. Again, it's a free Stop the Bleed course. No cost to anyone. Maybe get some pizza while you're there and learn how to save a life. I think I might have learned this from Pierre, actually, is statistically you're going to have to save a life versus stop a threat. And so our community needs this event. Could we charge for it? Sure, but it's free.
Wow. Just last night, Antonio, I was talking to somebody, I think at the church, whatever, and I was saying that very thing. We need, as a people, to understand this. And they said, well, why? I said, well, if you go in the woods, you go for a walk, you trip and fall by yourself, okay? And you're an older person, do you know how to stop the bleed if your bone come protruding out, okay? Most people don't know how to do that. I I know something what to do, but I know you can stuff it in packet. That's it. But there's some things beyond that, tourniquets, whatever. But that's and I'm looking. I want to be that part of that. I want to be part of that. The 31st. That's in New Hampshire, right?
No.
It's in Revere. It's in Revere.
Oh, Squire Road, not in Revere. Okay.
Fire Road, right next to the Harley Davidson store.
Okay. All right. And what's that date again?
August 31st.
August 31st.
Which is a Saturday.
Okay. And the time was?
12 to 4.
Okay. All right.
You could definitely give it to the church, GFCC, if you want. I mean,
Yeah, I would love to host a free Stop the Bleed course at your church additionally.
Yeah. Talk to the pastor. I'll be more than happy to talk to the pastor.
There you go. That's on point, because, again, that's important to learn how to stop bleeding. Because I think there is a statistic that most people die from bleeding out where there could have been somebody knew what to do. It could save their life, because I think a bleed out takes what, maybe a minute, 2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 minutes to bleed out, and then you'll die. The body will go into shock, and it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a lot of blood to lose. Can't put it back in.
Right.
So I'm gonna work on that, Antonio and Nolan, because it's important. And man,
Gerald, do you have a tourniquet in your home or in your vehicle?
So I'm gonna say no because I don't know where it is.
That's an honest answer.
Yeah.
I have a super small tourniquet that I keep in my pocket with me every day, aside from the tourniquet that's in my vehicle. It's just and so I don't get sponsored, but it's called Everyday Care Tourniquet. It's yay big. That's what she said. But it's right in your pocket. It's about the size of a magazine, and not just from a gun wound or being stabbed in a car accident or something on a job force at work, rather. It could come into play to save someone's life.
Right. Especially somebody who's on blood thinners, which are dangerous, in my opinion. Because I was put on blood thinners like maybe about a year ago. And man, that stuff was doing stuff to me I didn't like, So, I do what I have to do to maintain. But they said if you trip and fall with blood thinners and you hit your head, you got to go to the hospital. I said, for what? Because you could have internal bleeding. You won't know about it. So you're kidding me, And that's scary stuff. But one must, stay close and cooperate with their primary care, and they figure out what's best for them. Okay, that's just a shameless plug in for not getting in trouble. Yeah. But gentlemen, I enjoyed this. Any more we want to get in before we cancel?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say for Black and brown instructors, we really gotta step our game up. Most instructors, they start and stop at the introductory level. So like home firearm safety, basic pistol, and they don't go further. If you really want to get into these two-way spaces, you got to know what you're doing and what you're talking about. And one of the reasons why I'm able to have the level of success that I have is that usually when I walk into a space, I'm the most qualified guy. I put in the time, money, and energy. I spent the thousands of dollars. So I see a lot of instructors out there, and some of them are mediocre. So we got to make sure that we're always striving to be the best version of ourselves. If you know you're part of a program, continue taking all of that. Like I've taken all the NRA courses, all the USCCA. I've taken, every time I go to a new organization, I take all the student classes and then all the instructor classes. Even though I may know some or most of the stuff, but I'm always looking for the things that I don't know, a different way to approach a different angle, a topic that I didn't think about. So we always got to keep growing and not being stagnant, because the two-way community is very toxic. And like now I've started taking YouTube videos seriously now, and I'm pushing a lot of content, and like I see how toxic the community is. So you really got to be on top of your shit. So if you took an instructor class a year ago, 2 years ago, if you know like you're part of a program and that program has 8 other classes, you need to stack your resume. Like, so that way, when you go in there, you're commanding respect and attention because you've put in the time, money, and energy. So whatever program that you're into, stack those certificates, get the knowledge, and that way you can bring more to your community and put in the spin that it needs to. Because as Black people, it's not only about guns, it's about politics. It's about our families being alive. It's about, taking that and earning income with it. And there's a lot of different things. I've been shooting since I was 18, and like my understanding of guns now compared to when I first started, I realized it goes so much deeper than the firearm. It goes into the fabric of our lives. So we really, as instructors, we got to put in that extra work to bring more back into our community and to be able to navigate in different spaces where we may not be wanted or appreciated, but our resume and our presence commands respect. So whatever it is that you're doing, keep going. Put a budget every year. I'm gonna spend $1,000, $2,000 a year to continue my own education because there's levels to this shit. There's level like 5 years ago, I thought I was a dope instructor. Now I'm like, damn, I was a mediocre instructor. 10 years ago, I was teaching people and I thought I knew my shit. And now I realize how much that I didn't know. So yeah, just keep learning and keep growing. And that's going to give you more to bring back to your community. And a lot of things that we talked about leadership, that's what I'm doing with my YouTube channel. I'm going to be producing content for students, intermediate and instructors, and hopefully within the next 2 years we'll be certified by the state. And that's my main goal right now that I'm working on, is having a Black organization have a firearm training course that is recognized by the government, so that way we don't have to be engaging with people that we may not like. But the only way that happens is if you're on your shit. We know we got to do twice as much with half the resources to get a fraction of the recognition. So we got to be on our P's and Q's. So just keep investing in yourself, because every time you invest in yourself, you're going to reap those rewards more, and that's more you can bring back to your community.
Also, anyone who's watching this in the future, if you need a security detail, look up Overwatch Security Solomon Firearm Training. He doesn't just do firearm training, he does also security details.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
We got to build each other up.
Right.
It's me versus me. It's never me versus anyone else. And so if I can help build you up, or Nolan or Gerald or whoever it is, that's it. That's it. And so education is key. It's always been key. You never know everything. And so I continue to take classes.
Same here. I take it one in like October.
More with what you said is invest in yourself, invest in your business, take more classes, and this has been dope. And the four of us, we need to do like a range day, and then talk after, like for the next one. It'll be more fun, in my opinion. Like, this is fun, don't get me wrong, but the thrill of shooting guns and then having the conversation, it brings it up a little more.
I shoot for food. I'm a gambling man.
I shoot for food. I'm a gambling man.
I shoot for ammo.
Yeah, so long as you're using the high point against my staccato, I'll take the bet.
I'm not taking
I don't care. I don't care what gun it is. Give me any gun, any situation. I'm ready to go.
My question is this to you: how I seen you shoot that 500 when? So your hand was hurting, I bet.
Oh, you talking about the Rhode Island CCW?
Yeah, because I'm taking mine probably within a month or two, so I'm getting some of my rounds in. But I seen you shoot that 500 when. I'm like, his hand must be hurting. That's one of the most powerful pistols / revolvers in the world.
The 500?
That 500 win?
500.
Wow.
Yeah,
that thing is
I can hang out with you guys, boy.
I haven't shot that.
Look into 5.7. Forget 500 win. 5.7 is where it's at.
Yeah.
That too.
All right. Hey, what I need you guys to do, because if I'm correct, Antonio, you mentioned something about you're doing evaluations for churches. Am I correct?
I am doing church trainings with a company called Protect His House.
Okay.
I have another shameless plug. I have a training coming up for a church in Boston, August 10th. The cost of that event is $25. It is at the New Beginnings Ministry Church. It's an active shooter awareness seminar. It's 42 Everton Street in Boston. The address, time, and dates on my website, urbanstudentexperience.com.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That was important. And so, how can people get a hold of you, Antonio?
I'm part Native American. Not enough to go to school for free, but if they do smoke signals, I'm gonna pull up.
Are you part of Elizabeth Warren's tribe?
Okay.
That
I'm
fake
part of
tribe.
Wish the Nigga Wood tribe.
Right.
All jokes aside, hit me up. Call me 857-445-8086. Mike Jones. No, that's my actual number though. Instagram, Urban Student Experience. Email, Urban Student Experience. Yeah, we out here. I'm here.
All right. That's good. Solomon, your business handles, what you got for people to be listening to this?
Solomon Firearms on all social media platforms. Email is info@solomonfirearms.com. Phone number is 857-523-0776. We train people on all levels, so it doesn't matter if you've never shot before or if you're an experienced shooter. We do pepper spray training, hand-to-hand combat, firearms, instructor training, stun gun training. So anything self-defense related, we bought that life. So.
Thank you, bud. Nolan, what do you have for us?
So for me, I'm 617 Defense on Facebook, Instagram, 617 Defense LLC on Twitter /X. My website is 617defense.com. My email is 617defense@gmail.com. You can call me at 508-740-7981. Like I said, I'm a home firearm safety instructor, stop the bleed instructor. Also, if you have an event, I'm an RSO, NRA RSO. So I'm also looking. Like I said, call me. I'll be more than happy to teach you. If I don't know, I'd be happy to send you off to one of these guys here. Who have a little bit more experience than me in certain things. But yeah, we're here. We're here as a group. And
Sounds good. All right. So we're about to close this out. So to those watching Black Conscious Nation, I thank these three wonderful instructors come spend time with us, teach us about awareness, safety, how to become licensed in this wonderful state of Massachusetts. And the key thing is about learning about the political ramifications that can free us or bound us. It is important, and Antonio has a non-vegan hat on his head. Okay, my wife laughing at you. So, from Black Conscious Nation, we appreciate you, gentlemen, coming to spend time with us. May God's favor be on your mission, educating the Black diaspora and those whoever come to your business, because it's about humanity, not just our people. All right? Peace and black love to y'all.
Peace.
Yeah, bro. Thank you for having me.
All right.